right, welcome everyone. It's good to see people here, and maybe others might come through the door, but I'd like to put this out before we get into the business of the day. And I'd like to have it be that if we could just get through our agenda items and get down to when we get to the action plan, you know, and then open it up if we have comments and suggestions and things from our guests, so that maybe it would help us move along. That's okay with everyone? Sure. Okay, great, thank you. So, and I did pass out the minutes of last week's meeting, you know, earlier, for people that were here early enough to be able to glance at them. But take a minute and take a look and see if we can have a motion to approve the minutes. If you would, please. Of course. Everybody ready?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from the meeting on, it's not on here.
125.
Oh, January 25, 2018 at 1:30 in the afternoon.
2019.
20, well,
Yeah.
18 here.
I need to get corrected.
Oh, really? That's my typo. Would you please correct that date? So, I apologize.
I'm just reading what I saw.
That would be my error. So we have a correction with the date.
And we also under old business, again, the date.
All right. So we need to modify that motion?
And again, on the next business meeting, the date.
Okay, so amend the date.
Amend the date of the minutes. And, all right, so we have a motion to accept the minutes with the date amended and changed to 2019. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
I think it was, are you okay with that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay. It's unanimous, Bob. Thank you, folks. I appreciate that. And we'll make sure we correct the date. So, well, you know, we just want to live in the past, that's all. So,
I don't want to be older.
no, we don't want to get older. So thank you very much. Change the date. All right, old business. There was a town building and space needs analysis working group meeting Wednesday night. And I was present, Liz was present, Patty was present, from our group. And there was, you know, there were some other guests there. So, but we wanted to give you feedback from that meeting. I don't know whether you want to give it some feedback?
Sure, yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the OPM was there, his name is Kevin, and he let everyone know in the group that he submitted the RFQ into the central registry, and Alan, correct me if I'm getting any terms wrong, and 30 firms / architects, engineers applied to submit proposals. So the next step is that they're going to be looking at who to hire from there. What they will be doing is creating schematic designs of this whole, all the different plans that are going through people's minds. And that will be what goes into town meeting. So they're not just looking at the DCU building, they're looking at the whole campus idea, these architects and engineers. So the campus idea would be the town hall, the new library, and community center of sorts in the back. So that's one aspect they're looking at. The second aspect they're looking at is the DCU building to be the new senior center. And they're factoring things in like the library with the grant, the library without the big grant. They're going to look at the whole picture and get all of that information back to us before March 29th, correct?
They're gonna
Even
try to do
sooner than
that.
that,
Well,
even sooner than that.
yeah, if they can.
Yeah.
I think too, they were gonna look at the DCU building immediately.
Immediately. That
Yeah.
was their first charge,
Yeah.
to get us the information on that. While we were on that discussion, I relayed some questions I had about the DCU building, because I came into this late. I came in on the 14th after my maternity leave, so I had some questions about the septic and about the parking and the crosswalk, just the normal questions that people have when you're buying a building. So the architect, or OPM, is definitely gonna relay that information, and we'll get some definite answers about that, which will help us in our decision-making. But I actually toured the building this morning with Chuck DeCoste and with my EHS team, and it's a very beautiful building. We'll see about the parking and the kitchen, but once we get those answers, it'll be great. What am I missing?
They're trying to move quickly because
Very
I
quickly.
happened to write the dates down, even though I don't have to attend those meetings, but I just wanted to keep track of what's happening with that. And they are gonna be, I guess, interviewing, or no, they RFQ, request for qualifications, right? I was
Yes.
learning these terms myself. And Alan's more, he's pipe in if I'm making a mistake, because Alan was there too at that meeting. They are, the opening for the request for qualifications will occur on the 5th of February, next Tuesday. And then they have planned, if all goes well, to interview these, the architects that it's going to be a group, a subgroup from the Space Analysis Working Group, who will be interviewing the candidates that they have selected to interview. I think I got that down right, pretty much. And that's the plan right now, so they're trying to move quickly on this to get it going. So,
We'll be doing that on the 12th of February.
correct, that's what I have down too in my calendar, yep. So, that's pretty much, there was a lot of discussion, there's concern. I think it's fair to share, and we all need to be sensitive to this, because the library people are concerned, I think. That's the best way to say it, We don't want, they just seem to be feeling a little worried, I think. I don't know how to describe it, but they're concerned, really concerned that if something comes up in March, they were planning, but the selectmen said were not aware of that until recently, that the library wanted to be on the warrant in March, and that just was brought to their attention. The warrant
Closes
deadline
March.
is the 29th, and so I'm thinking, but the May meeting, they wanted to be, have an article in the warrant in May, and so they're worried that if there are other big item articles, that would affect, I think, their chances. So, we just need to be sensitive to that, and none of us want to alienate the library. We all are, concerned about that too, and so whatever we can do, I think it would be nice. It would be, whatever, so,
We all went so that they could get it.
and there's just a lot coming up, and so it's concerning. Smart sewer project that is going to be on the warrant, if I'm not mistaken, so, yeah, you can understand that.
There's a lot of factors
Yeah.
at play.
Yeah, and you can understand why people are getting a little concerned, so, I think we need to be sensitive to that, yes, Barb.
I agree. You're talking about being sensitive to them.
Yep.
And it goes both ways.
This is exactly right, it does.
They need to be sensitive to what we really.
And I think they are. Mark pulled me aside after the meeting and, and expressed that he's not opposed to a senior center at all. So, yeah, we need to do that, but there's plenty of people that, have been involved and, yeah,
We
I
had to
just
get
think.
started sometime.
Well, we did, and and you're right, if there's an opportunity, we need to look at that, and that's exactly what's happening. So, and maybe we just need to be out there and share and talk to people, about it, so. Anyway, enough about that, but, yes, Bob?
Can you give us an idea of what the general feeling of that group is, positive or negative to the whole situation?
The
The
senior
group?
center part?
Space
or-
Needs.
The group that you met with,
Well, there's
since they
certainly,
represent a lot of the boards in the town.
Do you mean the Space Needs Committee?
Yeah,
yes. We did not take a vote on that,
no, I understand that.
But my sense is that people are willing to look at all options. And this is an option that has been brought forth, and I think people are seeing it as, it has viability. you know, and maybe we need, they are, and that's why they said, they directed the OPM, Kevin, to look at the DCU building first. To,
Yeah.
you know, once they get their people on board to do that, and so I would say that they're supportive just based on that.
Yeah, I would say everyone at the
Yeah.
table is open to the discussion. Nobody
Right.
shut it down immediately. They're open to hearing, even hearing that the DCU building would be put first, that we would check that out with the architect first. They seem to be open to that. Nobody squashed that right away.
And get questions to answers, basically.
This is gonna sound like a
I
really
mean,
dumb
answers to
question,
questions.
because I'm
Answers
not
to
sure
questions. Sorry, I reversed
how to
that.
put it.
I reversed that, I'm sorry, I just corrected myself. Go on, and I'm sorry.
But, okay, they're gonna look at this, the way it sounds, what you're saying, and I probably am getting it wrong, is they're gonna look at the building. What if they look at the building and they say, this is perfect for blah, blah? The seniors looked first, but it's really better for this person. What do we do then?
Well, I think that's the town space group needs to say, wait a minute, you know, and talk to the representatives from the different groups that are involved.
I think, if I might, Mr. Chairman, the OPM understands perfectly that when we asked them to concentrate on the DCU building, that it was in terms of the senior center operation, because one of the things we stressed was the septic system.
Good point, thank you, Alan, you're right. Yes, so, I mean, and I remember hearing him say something about, the staffing, you know, issue. He was very sensitive to that and looking into that. So, yes, I think, yeah, I agree with you. I didn't see it as a negative at all. I think they're working with us and they're trying to help. So. All right, any other questions or comments about that piece of things? And there is, you know, we will be having another meeting. I don't think the meeting will be, this time span between meetings will be as long as it was. Our last meeting prior to last week was November 28th. We had not met. So, I'm anticipating we will be meeting more regularly, so,
Things are moving.
yeah,
And moving quickly.
yeah, they are, so. Welcome. Hi. Hi.
I'm just checking on some stuff.
Okay. All right, update from the Friends. If, whatever, you can take the floor, but I didn't know how to put it on the agenda otherwise. I thought, well, this is probably the best way, so.
Good, thank you.
Yes.
And here's your whatever.
I don't know if you have an update, but anyway, you need time to be able to share what you, if you want time.
Yeah, we love to share because we're working, the Friends Board is working pretty hard on this project, as you well know. And we had a meeting the other day. We're trying to have some in between to talk about your questions so that we can find out how we can help and get answers. And so we've been out there talking. And so I want to say, you know, we're working that hard in meetings so that we can make the dream come true. But we've listened to some concerns of how the building would work for us, and this has our attention, and we are looking into each and every question. We don't want you to think, I don't want you to think that we're poo-pooing your questions. They're important. But we're so, I keep saying we, I know that I am so set on finding this useful for us because we darn well need one. But anyway, so Alan McRae has volunteered to visit each office or call each person who would give us the answers we need, and he'll probably like to report on that. Meantime, the Friends will continue to find a way to obtain the DCU building and give our seniors a future place to come and enjoy all they can do for their health and their welfare. Now, I talked to Representative Arciero, and he said that later on, when we're a little more settled in, he would come to a meeting and, you know, if we have any questions that he can answer, he'll do it. I also talked to Emmett Schmarzo in the Executive Office of Elder Affairs, and I'm waiting for an answer from him about a few things. He did answer me yesterday, but my computer wouldn't accept that script or whatever it was. So, I know he's gonna write back to me because I sent him a note saying I didn't get it. I wanna say that Peg McLaughlin's been out there checking on senior centers and gave a report to me. So I think that the group is working, to help
And,
best way we can.
thanks. Did I see a hand? No?
I just have one question. How's the petition going?
By the way, we keep saying petition, and I've been told it's not a petition.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
survey, and it is so that people can sign and let us know that they're interested in us having a senior center. And we're telling them that, you know, you go to town meeting, and if you're for it, give us a yay, and if you're not, you can do your no thing. But this is part of what we've gotten back. So I'm really happy about this. And Carol, our techie, I call her, put it on yeah, Facebook. So, they know to go to the thrift shop and get it, signed. We were gonna tell them that people are out there carrying them too, but they'll just bump into them here and there, and we didn't tell them that. We just decided, when you see somebody with one of these, then get over there and sign it.
I will say the ones that have signed mine have been very positive. I've only had one question, and it was an easy question to answer. No one, just saying, you don't have to vote for it now. You can vote for it at town meeting. And some people said, I don't care, just let me sign it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's been,
In fact, I would say that all these on here, every page we have, nobody asked anything. They just said, give me the paper. So it's like we have some support. And that's what we need.
Excuse me,
Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry,
Excuse me, Mary? Mary?
oh, I'm sorry.
You wanna be recognized, Mary? Okay, go ahead.
I'm curious, on this survey that you're taking, you're talking about the DCU building?
DCU building, yes.
And that's mentioning the library in there?
No, there's no reason to.
No, just the senior.
Yeah.
Okay,
This is for the seniors.
good,
We're making our own pitch.
good. Sharon?
All right, so I have taken upon myself for this mission to educate and inform all the seniors that have taken use of our facilities. And we're compiling a list up in the office, and I'm gonna call everyone personally, speak to them about the senior center and supporting us at the town meeting.
That's a big job. Cute, go ahead.
One question, are there going to be people with this
Survey.
survey, like at Donald's and Market
We're
Basket?
getting to that. People have offered to stay there. and
Because
at
we,
Market
we've told a few people and some seniors who still work during the day don't, can't get down here to go to the thrift shop or anything.
Right, right.
gonna
So,
bring up the-
yes,
I'm gonna bring up
we have had people offer to go there and stand and, get signatures.
since this is just a survey, will they be able to reply online, do you think?
I can just know about it.
Comment on Facebook if they want.
Yeah, they can make comments on it.
So instead of signing, they could, if they sent me, I'm sending out a group. It's gonna be about 100 people. And for them to come to my house and sign the petition, or can they respond online and say, yes, we're interested? Because this is not gonna be legal now. This document here was legal because it's a petition. If it's gonna be a survey, it's just a survey. It doesn't have to be legal for the town clerk, correct?
Right, it's just, Alan can answer that.
There's nothing illegal about it. All we're doing is looking to see how many people we can get to sign this survey saying we support.
That's all we need.
support.
It's also a way
This
to,
is not gonna be turned in any legal way whatsoever.
all right, it's also a way to educate people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It really is. It's a tool to educate people
Then
and
I
get
will
the
do
word out. Yes, Mary?
That list of survey is for people that are for the senior center, and you're encouraging them to vote. Many of them don't go to the, town meeting to vote, so how's that gonna count?
Well, what we're trying to tell them is, we would love
Yeah, a
to
lot
have
of
it
them
earlier.
won't.
That's why we're gonna speak to them, we're gonna,
Would there be an
Have them sign?
absentee,
no,
no,
no.
no?
No, but, you know, we can make arrangements, I'm sure, with
Yeah.
transportation and to help get them there and things of that nature.
And we're gonna
Yeah,
try
we
very
start-
hard to get, to get the article on town meeting first, so that it's not last.
Right.
Yeah,
And you
Yeah.
start raising,
yeah.
you start raising the awareness now to plant the seed and keep saying it, so they do show up, to start early.
It just, you have to keep plugging away at communicating and getting the word out, so, and this is a great tool to do that. So, I have a question though, because I'm just wondering, okay, I don't want to, have an overlapping of things and, have people, and I think it's great that Alan's gonna be doing some of this, but also our director will be doing things, and so, here
Yeah,
we
we've
have
been-
two, we don't wanna take up people's time answering two separate people. Maybe there should be some collaboration or something about this.
yeah.
Because, I mean, you know, I know that Liz has been, I know both of you, Alan and Liz, have been trying to get answers about the septic system.
Yeah.
And then I know Alan was saying he was gonna see the man, and Liz has already contacted the man. So here's an example of, wait a minute, this guy, he's only part-time anyway. So, and now we've got two people not pestering him, but wanting the same information. So, maybe we should work and look at how we can either minimize that, come together and decide, okay, this one's gonna do this, so this one's, I don't know. But I'm just concerned about that. I wanna raise that issue.
I would say Alan did stop by my office the other day and let me know, he kind of filled me in on up-to-date what he's doing. And he did let me know that he was gonna go talk to Jim Gareffi, so I did know that. So there is some collaboration, but we could be better. You can always be better.
We'll make sure that we.
Okay,
that I
Collaborate,
provide
yeah.
With all the information I find out,
Yeah.
good.
as soon as I find it out.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good, because my concern was, we don't wanna alienate anybody either because
Right.
of this. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And why reinvent the wheel either, too? You don't need two
I
people
think-
doing the same thing.
I think he realizes that we're serious too, if he knows that he's being asked a couple times. And I'm sure that if he's got the information and he gives it to her and he walks in the office, he'll probably say, here's the information and I gave it to Liz.
Well,
and-
it's just that, as long as there's communication,
Yes.
that's the big thing.
Right.
Just making sure there's communication, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you. So,
Do
Nancy,
either Liz or Alan have answers to the septic yet?
Not yet. The Realtor was giving some more information. He was gonna email some more information to Chuck, this afternoon, I think. And, we're gonna have to give some more information to Jim Gareffi to be able to make a better decision about what it can handle. So, he asked for a rough sketch of what we had in mind for where the diner would be, and then numbers of how many people show up. Are we using paper plates? Are we using the dishwasher? Things like that. So just a little bit more information. So that's where that stands.
but there's
And-
action, that's good.
Yeah, and Kevin, the OPM, was gonna help us with that as well. Get some more information.
So, that's progress, I think, you know, that's a good thing, so, yeah. Yes, sorry.
To Liz. Jim Garaffi?
Board of Health.
Neshoba Board of Health.
And I know people had concerns or questions about there's no sidewalk, there's no crosswalk. So I did reach out to Jeff Patterson at the police station, who is gathering some information for us, so I can report back on that, with some actual numbers or some data.
Great.
You just need to get the information, that's basically, to help us all make, you know, good decisions, so. I don't think there's any question that everybody thinks it's a beautiful building. You know,
It's
it
a
is,
beautiful
it
building.
is beautiful, so, and it's, you don't think it's a beautiful building, Al? Anyway,
March, Bob?
I'm sorry, Bob.
Just for demo contact, we were at lunch on Tuesday over at the cafe, and Brian from the planning board was sitting there, and One of the things that he suggested was that we be very careful, if possible, that the warrant asks for the money, but not necessarily stating that it has to be for the DCU building. Because if we do that and then the DCU building gets ruled out, there's no money. He suggested the warrant should be carefully worded, and I know Alan's working on this with the attorneys and so forth, that it might be more general than that, so that we get the money no matter what. But that's just a comment. I thought it was an interesting comment that he made that I never would have thought of.
I think Alan is planning for all scenarios.
I need a moment to
I'm
go
not gonna
report
ask-
quickly,
Okay.
Here, I'm
and
gonna
I'll
ask her.
address
She's
that
here.
then.
Okay.
So Alan would like to give a report too.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear.
Alan would like to give a report.
I'm sorry, I was asking a question here, and
I was just waiting.
you'd like to give a report?
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, I would love to have a report. We'd all love to hear what's going on, so.
Thank you. Warrant articles. I have drafted the warrant articles. I went and talked with our finance team here in town. They gave me some good advice. I drafted the warrant articles. I sent them out to them yesterday to see if I've done it the way they suggested I might do it. If I get that okay back, or whatever suggestions they make, I'll make those changes. And I'll send that electronically to Liz, and then she can send each one of you an email so that you can see what the warrant articles look like. And then we'll have the town council then take what we've written in plain English and put it in legalese, so that it's legal to go into the warrant. To Bob's concern about the money, we are looking to take the money for the purchasing of the building and for design funds from the capital stabilization fund. I have to say that in the warrant article, Bob, because they're going to want to know where we're looking for funding. So I want that to be in there. But in the meantime, I've drafted another warrant article that we will put forth that will be pulled at the last minute if something happens with the DCU building. It's up for sale, so anybody could buy it out from under us at any time. Or we may, in our investigations, find there's something terribly wrong with the building and it's just not suitable for us. So our fallback position would be then to ask the Board of Selectmen for a good faith gesture and earmark $2.5 million currently in this stabilization fund to be used to design and construct a senior center. And the townspeople buy that and they approve it, then we'll have our base funds to go out and look at what's the next option. So that's how we're going to deal with doing that. If the DCU center is still up and ready to go, then we'll pull that article. We won't have that in there.
One question, you mentioned the DCU is up for sale, do you know the price?
They're asking a little over $2 million, but that'll be negotiated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sharon, did you also have a
I did.
question? Thank you.
Yeah, you know, I was wondering, could we put in an offer to the DCU building contingent
To
upon,
sit on it, yeah.
I don't think they would.
they'd go for that?
No.
Contingent upon passing by the town meetings?
They want to sell the building, so they're not gonna hold it
Okay,
for us. We've discussed that in the finance team, so that won't fly. That's not gonna do that, so.
You're talking about your FinCom, right? When you refer to
Yeah.
finance team?
Yeah, well, not the FinCom,
But,
the treasurer,
oh, okay,
the finance director, the full-time people that work here.
okay.
Yeah.
Got it, thank you. You have to explain these things, I'm not really that experienced in town
Yeah, no,
government.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
No.
I like to think that the FinCom is the finance team too. But we do rely heavily on our full-time folks.
I'm sure you do. It's like overwhelming, I don't know how you do it, anyway. All right,
I just lost my piece of paper. Hang on a second. What did I do with it?
yes, Barbara, in the meantime, that's all right, wait a minute, you lost it to you.
It's in the back.
Okay, well, we'll be right back.
Did that answer your question, Bob?
Yeah, that's fine, thank you.
Okay, good.
And you wanna let him finish, or?
Excuse me, Mr. McRae.
Yes, ma'am.
I have the floor for a minute. 1 minute.
A
One
minute.
minute, we'll clock her.
No, I keep thinking too, there's gotta be a way that, because they wanna sell the building, and because we seem so serious, that maybe we'll be able to come down a little bit, so that,
We always have to have positive thinking.
yeah, so we wanna talk
This
about
building's
that.
been on the market for a long time, and they have not been overwhelmed by people wanting to
Offers.
buy it, so.
Yeah.
And somewhere I've heard that they wouldn't mind the town purchasing it.
Yeah,
They've been in favor of that, so.
Nobody said that directly to me, but I've heard.
I've heard it too, that's what I said, I've heard it, I don't know where I've heard it either, but.
You heard it
Well,
from
the
Alan.
other thing
We
about
said-
it is-
He got a million for 3 million, I think he'd sell it in a minute.
Yeah,
Okay, continue, Alan.
thank you. To the issue with Jim Goretti from the Neshoba Boards of Health. Yes, I did go up and see him the other day, and he reiterated what you had told the group, that they need to get a set of plans and just outline on there where they think they might want the septic or the kitchen to go, and the offices, which are pretty much already there. You just
Set
said
up
this, 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 and this. And then the information he wanted from you about how many people normally use that, when do we use it? And I gave him general information about, we do 3 breakfasts, a month. We do Meals on Wheels every day. We do a lunch every day, but it's not a big deal. But we move up there, we would hope that it must be much bigger. But the large use, as far as food is concerned, is our monthly luncheons, and those are catered. So it's not an issue. The one thing he did say was that if we put a kitchen in up there, probably, and they don't have it now, if you put a kitchen up there, we'd have to have a grease trap. There'd have to be a small one in the kitchen and a large one outside. He said they currently do not have that, and it would be required if we do any kind of cooking inside the building. So that's one thing we'll know will be a cost, but not insurmountable cost, not a big deal. So if we can get that to him.
Yeah, if it's okay with the group, I'll compile all of that and
And
get that to him.
That way, we've got the OPM looking at it, but he's the guy from the Neshoba that does all the septic systems here. He knows what that system was designed for, and if he looks at our requirements, it may very well be that putting the grease traps in is all you need to do, because the system is big enough to handle the usage that we would have there.
Right,
And that's the big thing.
That is
We
the
don't
big
wanna
thing.
have to build a new septic system.
no,
Anyway,
Well-
that's the story on Jim Goretti. and
Great.
Septics. One thing that did come up in the needs, building space needs working group the other night, that has to do with parking, and I know people have had questions
Okay.
about parking. There are 80 spaces there. I don't see that we never need more than 80 spaces, but in any event, Richard Crowley is also a member. And Richard mentioned what most of us did not know, is that behind that accessory building at Moran's Toyota Funhouse, there are 20 parking spaces back there that they that they requested if they gave him permission to build that additional building. And those are public parking spaces, and it's within strolling distance from our parking lot. So that gives you a potential for
There's
100
only-
parking spaces.
yeah, there's only, in between is the Joseph Banks, not the right Banks. Banks Automotive
Yeah,
is in between, that parking area and the DCU building. So, but then you already have somebody looking at safety as far as negotiating in the streets and however you would get there, because you'd have to go, yeah. But anyway, so that's a possibility, and we need to look at everything, yeah.
well, it's an additional 20 parking spaces.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Marge.
No, go ahead.
During the daytime hours, there are 15 spaces that are taken up by the tenant on the second floor, so we'll have to keep that in mind. But the Realtor suggested that front, there is that circle driveway where the ATM used to be, that we might be able to do something with parking there, if that were on the table.
Be a good pull-through for the van to offload
Yeah.
people.
Maybe.
Strangely, there's not a door there.
Yeah.
That would be a great
Well, yeah, but it's,
entrance, yeah.
yeah, you just walk right around the entrance, so. But, hey, maybe there'll be a door there, who knows?
She's good at putting in doors.
Well, you got the place where the ATM machine was, the drive-through, and that's all boarded up there, maybe you could just, anyway. David, you had your hand up.
Yeah, the parking space that's on the Moran property is directly behind the gas station and parallel to the street. So, Great Road goes this way, and that piece of the parking lot goes this way, and it's actually only about 10 or 12 feet. The end of that parking lot is about 10 or 12 feet from the back of the building. And there's maybe 10 or 12 feet of grass from that parking lot to the back of the DCU building. So you could put a set of
Okay.
stairs that
Put
would
a
go.
set of stairs in, a concrete pad, and
Yeah.
you're good.
Oh, there, see. If we hadn't asked and looked into it, we wouldn't know, and somebody hadn't come forth,
It's
sorry.
surprising what people know that you don't know.
That's right.
And those parking spaces right now are also, they're public spaces, but they're also designated as parking for the two businesses that are in the front of the building, the boxing place
Right,
and the Verizon store.
right.
Right, so Moran doesn't use those at any time because they're already designated for those businesses, which don't really take up a lot of space because,
Yeah,
people
well,
come and go.
Our use for additional parking would be once a month or evening kind of.
However, I must say, I've gone in to go to the Verizon store, I've pulled in that area, and that parking lot's always full. Every time I've gone. So, but still, it's a possibility, and it, is something that is exciting to know, really. I quite frankly, I'm thinking long-term when I think about this, and I don't think parking's gonna be an issue if we were to move there immediately. I don't think parking's gonna be, but, when we think ahead to the year 2035, when 40% of the population in Littleton are seniors, it could be a problem, as we move along down the road. That's why I'm concerned, and, because I'm trying to keep, we're supposed to be looking long-term.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't see it as a reason why we wouldn't move.
no, well, there's, as long as people are aware of me, or we might need to do something down the road, or whatever.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's always,
Yep.
um,
Oh, go ahead.
you look at,
No, I just wanted to mention the parking of the other people that are in the building. I was talking to the Realtor about that, and he said, there's very few people that work in those offices. They're not there every day. They're not all there every day. There's a few that come and go. But that, he said, maybe there's a possibility we could find them another place to have their offices.
There's lots of possibilities, yeah. When Tina and Nicole also came with us this morning to tour, there were many parking spaces filled. It was probably about 15 when we were there. But like you said, we could work something out.
Yeah, but like he said, it's not every day.
Right. And our main days are the big luncheons, and we could negotiate something for those days.
I also know, only when Bank of America was there, I would go into the bank to do business, and I would say, the parking lot's full, where is everybody? And they said, people park here because they carpool. So I think what's happening at DCU is that they're parking so they can carpool.
Because it's empty.
Oh, well, maybe.
Maybe, who knows, yeah.
We'll have to have a parking lot attendant.
Dream on. Well, we could have a volunteer out there.
the building is not occupied.
Right.
Everybody says, oh, well, that's free parking.
Yeah, could be. We keep interrupting you, Alan.
Oh, no, that's-
Sorry.
I just have one other item, and it's a suggestion from me to the group. In looking to get people to support our moving forward with the senior center, however we do it, it seems to me that we have a list through all the sign-up sheets for luncheons and programs that we do, a list of several hundred people that use our facility either once in a while or a lot. If we could contact those people and ensure, two, great minds, I'm sorry, and ensure that we get them to do two things. One, that whenever this issue comes up before the selectmen, like when we're looking to have them put on the warrant, that these people show up at that selectmen's meeting. And the second one, at town meeting, that these people show up. That would give you a core group of a huge number of folks coming through the door that would translate to lots of others who didn't show up tonight but also support.
Good idea.
So when you're looking for people, concentrate on those you know are using the facility now. And get people, give them a list and contact them personally and keep after them. And like some people said here, there are ways to make sure that we can pick them up or get them a ride or whatever. But we need to do those two things. They've got to be, we gotta fill up the room when we talk to the selectmen about putting this on the warrant so that they see, those that are not already aboard, and we have several of those, that they see that there is community interest. It's not just me and Liz and Marge and Barbara and the rest of us. That everybody else out there is interested in that thing going too. And two, they gotta be at town meeting to vote. Now, every one of us who goes to town meeting sees everything that the children do, everything that we do for the children. The place is packed with parents. And as soon as that warrant article is done, they're out of there.
Yeah,
So they're one-issue voters. We gotta have some one-issue voters.
yeah.
To
And
that
not at-
end,
And not at the end.
no, well, that's a good, because I meant to say that when I was talking about the warrant articles. Thank you for bringing it up. The warrant articles will go on the special town meeting warrant, not the regular warrant.
Okay.
Now, we start the regular meeting, and in a half hour later, at 7:30, we go to the special. We don't get but a couple of articles from the regular done before we go into the special. And the first 2 or 3 articles on the special is pay bills that came up at the last minute we didn't get done at the annual. And then we will show up very early in the evening. Our people can get to vote, and if they're tired and want to go home, they can. If they want to stay, they're all welcome. I don't like to see people empty out the building. But yes, we can get it early because we'll be on the special. We're going to be on the special because if in fact town meeting approves this, the following day, we want to have people going up and negotiating the price with DCU. If we're on the annual, we can't do anything until 1 July.
Ah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. You've segued us right into our next agenda item, so thank you. And yes, Bob.
Just a comment, as I've been talking to people about the survey, I have been not only asking seniors, but asking regular people.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm saying to them, hey, if we're gonna take the money from the, whatever that fund is, stabilization fund, it isn't gonna cost the taxpayers, an increase in taxes. And so it isn't something that is gonna cost you, but it's something that you can do, because you're gonna be a senior someday too. And, people have responded very positively to that.
That's a good
You gotta
point.
understand it, it's not gonna cost me increased taxes, I'm all for it.
Good. I have just one thing to say. One
Wait a
more
minute.
thing.
You said that before, I think. No, I'm only kidding.
This is great, Bob, because yes, we want all ages that can sign it. We're not going just to the seniors, we're going to everybody. But in the meantime, what Alan was bringing up is exactly what Sharon just said that she's going to be doing, is calling the lists to see, all the things you mentioned as far as people who come here and everything. She just mentioned it, but actually, I wanted to say that because she's working hard at this. And Alan just kind of gave it a wider look so that people understand what she's going to be doing. So,
So,
thank you.
we have already, as I just said, moved on to continued work on it, in my mind. Continued work to develop an action plan. And so we've had many suggestions here and things, thank you. Yes. But many things, and these last two suggestions that Alan just made are great ones, as far as, you know, this is part of our action plan as to what we're gonna be doing, how we're gonna be doing it, what Sharon's already said, there's been many pieces of that. So, I'll take a minute though, I'd like to share with you, and some of you are aware of this and some of you are, I know there's a few people that are anyway. We all know that Paul Avella, actually, we could thank him for getting us all hyped up here. You know, when he first came to the Friends meeting and then came to the COA board meeting. And he, although he's skipped town for a few months, is still very much involved in this. And has written a letter to the editor of the Independent, et cetera. And he has submitted that to be published next week. On the 7th, if they do publish it, I don't know, but I know he submitted it and requested it be in the February 7th Independent. And I can read the letter to you if you'd like to hear it. I think it's really a nice letter. So it says, the title is Time for a Littleton Senior Center. For many years, town officials have agreed that a senior center in Littleton is justifiably needed. Till now, however, there has been no traction for acquiring a senior center. The situation is changing, and for the better. During the FinCom budget meeting with the Board of Selectmen on January 5th, 2019, there was broad consensus that a senior center must be front and center in these upcoming months. Littleton, as throughout the United States, is maturing. The data is conclusive. UMass Gerontology Institute forecasts that within 15 years, our town will be nearing 40% seniors, double that of today. The U.S. Bureau of the Census American Community Survey for 2010-2014 pegged Littleton's 55-plus population at 29%. Those 55 years old in 2014 are turning 60 this year. Littleton's master plan in 2017 noted, Littleton has the largest percentage of residents over the age of 65 when compared to any of the surrounding towns. Full disclosure, I've advocated for the DCU location. Littleton Master Plan 2030 also acknowledged that seniors have special needs and require services that can be different from the rest of the population. An adequate and functional senior center will address many of those needs currently unfulfilled in the Shattuck building. For instance, when using the multipurpose room, seniors must often be turned away due to safety capacity limits. A Littleton Senior Center will be the capstone of what has been a very successful Littleton infrastructure modernization program. Since 2001, Littleton has acquired a new high school, middle school, and police station, and substantially renovated the fire station and Russell Street School. A modernized library is in the works. Master Plan 2030 specifically calls out for a senior center. Quote, provide a new senior center that serves the increasing needs of senior residents in Littleton, end quote. The time has arrived for a senior center in our town. The Board of Selectmen and FinCom not only recognize the need for a senior center, they are actively exploring how to fulfill the long-held dream of a Littleton Senior Center. Seek out the members and offer your encouragement for their vision and actions. Paul Avella, 94 Grist Mill Road, Littleton. And then he says, he puts this down for the editors. Avella is a former selectman, school committee chairman, and master plan update steering committee chairman. So I think he really
Great letter.
sums it up. It's a great letter. And so keep your eyes open and, you know, get the word out to people, because not everyone gets the Independent, and,
Not anymore.
no, so, and there is a meeting actually with the editor of the Independent this, coming Monday, next Monday at 11 o'clock, so people can come to that too if they're interested. But I would just say, you know, that's educating the population. And Paul has suggested that we need to just continue to, you know, support the FinCom and the Board of Selectmen. And we know that, you know, the Board of Selectmen, I know that, you know, people, they've been involved, and they are supporting, and they're helping, they're trying to help. So, it's an exciting time, very exciting. We need to just pull through some of this stuff and keep getting the information so that we know, and we can speak very knowledgeably at town meeting about it too, so. Ann Lee, and then Mary.
Yeah, is this just going in the Littleton Independent, or is it going in the Little Sun and
I-
Action Unlimited?
I don't, it looked to me from the email, I just received this morning.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I think it's only the Independent right now.
I could suggest that he's send it to the others.
I suggested once that he's been sharing with Nancy and I, that he was working on a letter. And I did suggest, and Nancy did too, at the same day, that, what about the Little Sun? So, it's in his hands, he's doing it, so you know.
Might you suggest the Action Unlimited also, because
Yes, I did.
many more people read that than the Lowell Sun or the Littleton
So
Independent.
we can get back to him again, and we can,
How
if
about
it,
the broadcaster?
it's, I don't know if you could, it's kind of lengthy to get it.
We can work something out.
So, you know, we'll keep getting the word out, but this is all education too. And I expressed my gratitude to him. He's been really, really great helping, and,
He told me that he was also putting it on Facebook on, you know, from your
oh,
little.
that's right.
And he said he was gonna put it on his, so I will, when that happens, I will share it and put it on mine. But
Yeah, we
the,
can help get the word out there.
The broadcaster would be great if we could do that.
Yeah.
So, that's exciting, and that's educating the community too.
Yes.
So it sounds like we have any other ideas about educating, and this is where our focus needs to be now, and I think the reason that we're busy next week, the COA board, is a few of us are, several of us, usually attend the awareness subcommittee meetings, and their job is to educate and get the word out about things, so speak, you know, come up with things, or what do you think the focus should be right now? Should it be, you know, pay attention to what's going on with the Board of Selectmen? Should it be just educating them about the need? What are your feelings? We need to be all on the same page, I think, about what we're trying to educate them about right now. So,
I think blocks of, you know, like, old blocks in the broadcaster with dates.
Okay.
The Board of Selectmen meeting to consider the article that may go on the warrant will be on, and that's there, so that people who do get the broadcaster have it in black and white.
well, if we know that,
Because we know that sometimes we can say, you know, well, we're gonna tell people, but if a lot of people read the broadcaster, and I'm led to believe that they do, then, and they keep them. I can tell you, in my house, it sits on my husband's table, right there. But then it's information that they can refer to.
are you talking about this, it's right here?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Carry it with me, and this is the February edition. Yes, Nancy?
The only, that's a great idea, but the only problem with that is you have to have the information in by the 10th of that month. And
Right.
these board meetings might not be
Coincide.
posted until later on, after the broadcast is published.
It's hard to do that, because it's hard, the meetings don't get
Timeline.
posted until 5 or 6 days before the meeting. And we need to get the word out to the entire community too. It's not just seniors.
Right, but also when Nicole puts out the weekly happenings, there she could put in the block
Yeah.
about a selectmen's
You
meeting.
do that?
She's here,
You can
listening.
repeat it more than one time in the broadcaster, can't you?
She got it.
Oh, yeah. You know.
Other suggestions, yes, Bob?
What other ways could we reach the whole community? I thought the same thing when we were talking about the broadcaster. That's great, except the broadcaster's publication dates are so much far ahead that you probably won't know the dates of those meetings. But there must be some way that we can reach the entire community with, here is where these things are going to be brought up. It would be appreciated if you could provide your support, because numbers make a difference to boards, kind of thing.
Nancy had her hand up first, then you're next.
I will ask the school department if they would consider doing something like this. They send out bulletins to families in Littleton all the time. And I'll speak to the superintendent and see if this is something he would be able to do. The worst that can happen is he says no.
Right, right,
If you don't ask, they won't say anything.
Right.
that's right.
The other thing too is, we know when the Board of Selectmen meetings are going to be. So between now and the 29th of March, we're talking 7 weeks. We can look at when those Board of Selectmen's meetings are gonna be, because it's gonna have to be one of those.
They call meetings though all the time that aren't, necessarily on that Monday meeting time, so, it's hard to keep track of them, and trust me, if you start watching, I do. Yeah. Yes, Barbara,
The selectmen are meeting Monday night, they're gonna be talking about this.
there we go,
If anybody's interested in being there.
next Monday.
Yeah, and the other thing that I wanna say is, all these are really great ways and get to different people. And that's a good thing, anything you can think of. But don't forget these guys up here, cable, because they'll, they could have a thing running when these meetings are, when the selectmen are gonna talk about it. We just have to get the information to them and have them show it, and I've been talking about it on my show too, which maybe 5 people watch, but at least,
Well, I'm sure you have more than that.
but at least that's another way.
Barbara, when you say, is it actually the 4th of February that you're talking
Is
about?
that Monday?
That's-
Yes.
Okay.
So February 4th, this coming Monday Selectmen's meeting, they are gonna be discussing this. And you can go online, anybody, just a second, please. Anybody that happens to see this tape, you can always go online under the town of Littleton
Yeah.
and check for the agendas of the meetings, or, when the meetings are too, so.
I
Yes.
just had a great idea that maybe we contact the light department, when they
Oh.
send out that, letter. Thank you. That format thing,
In your bill, yeah.
yeah, in the bills.
Include, and what are you gonna include to send to them? What are you suggesting goes out as a general?
Just a small blurb, just to put a bug in their ear.
Haven't they sent it out with bills?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they do.
That would
Still.
go to everybody.
Well, that's true, so we need to think, maybe we all need to be thinking about, no?
Everybody, not to us that get our bills by email.
But it's
I
supposed
don't get anything.
Okay.
It's anybody, that's what we care about.
I know, but I don't,
It doesn't go to everybody, that's what you're saying.
The Light and Water Department has changed their rules about a year and a half ago. The Friends used to make up a funding letter, and they would put the funding letter in with their bills, but they don't do that anymore. For a while, they charged us for the paper and to print it, which was still very reasonable, but then they don't do that anymore either. They will make a small blurb, and they will print it in their brochure. It's a but you get it, the flossy,
The Watson drips, or
the
whatever it's
yeah,
called.
drips. And that's free, and they do that for people who are doing fundraising. So that, I'm sure they could do this also. And if you would like, I will contact the manager and send him this letter and see how we can concise it to go in, or maybe they'll do the whole thing.
Or something, anyway.
Yes, Mary. Mary, she hasn't spoken much.
No, I'm usually very quiet. I was thinking churches, the church bulletins that go out, and almost, it can just be selectmen's meeting this week, and, just to kind of keep the juices moving a little bit, keeping people ahead of the thing.
Right, and even to just talk about it, or just say that we're looking to have a senior center. It doesn't have to be that they have to go to the meeting or anything, but they at least will know what we're up to. And again, it's another form of communication.
I had the audacity last Sunday of standing up in church and explaining that there was a survey out there, and if anybody wanted to talk to me about it, it was very important for the seniors of the community. And it was amazing, there were 5 or 6 people, not seniors, who came to talk to me after church to find out what was going on.
It's really good, so that's kind of confirmation of that, so how do we want to approach that? We've got lots of ideas here. How do we want to proceed? Yes, David?
Marge, did you say that the selectmen's meeting was next?
Monday.
That's what Barbara said. I don't know, I haven't checked their schedule.
Well, I'm looking here, I wanted to look it up to be sure. It says Board of Selectmen meeting February 5th, which is Tuesday.
Yeah.
They make a mistake?
No,
I don't know.
but see, they do have, that's why I said, you can't just, they change they have meetings, and they're,
I don't know, that's what it says.
Okay.
yeah, they do.
I was
They
gonna-
have all kinds of things.
Yeah, I was gonna look for the agenda, but that's the first thing I noticed was it's a
Yep.
different date than everybody's saying.
Okay.
I don't know what the agenda is
Because
either.
I'd be sitting here by myself.
Well, normally, they do
You'd be
meet,
early for it.
Mondays at 6:30.
Mondays are around 6:30 they start, yes, and normally it is a Monday. They met this past Monday. I know, I was watching, I didn't attend. I thanked Mary Picard did go, and again, visibility. We're talking about visibility and getting out to these meetings and, demonstrating that we are there and everything, so.
That we're visible, that's the point.
It is, visibility, and I just said, increasing visibility is on the agenda here because it's all part of educating. So, do we have,
No.
I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing
Well,
something.
Nancy had,
He's calling the
Okay.
town.
All
I
right.
was just gonna look on the board.
Let everybody know that. Thank you, Kirby. That's Kirby.
Yes.
He says the Board of Selectmen is having a combined meeting with FinCom on Tuesday,
Usually it shows
not
up.
Monday.
Oh, so that
But
might
are
be
they
interesting.
having a meeting on Monday also?
No,
No meeting on
Just
Monday.
Tuesday.
Just Tuesday.
At 6:30?
Yeah, at 6:30, it's a combined meeting with
But I think,
FinCom.
I'll let,
So tell Alan not to be here on Monday either.
Tuesday,
Uh,
that was nice.
Thank you, Kirby.
Yes, thank you, Kirby.
Somebody's
Uh,
watching.
Well, no, I think it's important that each one of us try to track the meetings too, and if we get wind of something, then get the word out, at least amongst our group, so that then we can
Yeah.
also individually try to, spread the word a little too. We can't have, you don't want this whole room overflowing, and then people can't participate, but, we need a good representation, so.
speaking of Kirby, he'll remind me when I go upstairs, did you tell them about, we have a video going of the building and also a video of our seniors that are going. So if people want to, tune in once in a while to the station, they can see what we're talking about and what we have.
If they wanna see the inside of the DCU building.
Yes.
Yes, and it is, I know, it's there, and it's clearly labeled DCU, visitor tour, or something like that in the date. So, and it's a great video, it does show.
yeah. I know some people who are watching at home have watched the video and called after hours with questions. So if anybody's watching, call with questions, anything you can think of during watching that video, just call and we'll get some answers.
We're getting attention.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing, it's exciting. So, it is,
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
do we have any other, issues, other than we're going to talk about frequency of these meetings last week, and we decided to wait until today, because we wanted to get the feedback from the, space, working group. And so, if there's no other discussion about educating and specifics, do we want to move on to talking about how often should we meet and how do we want to proceed? So,
I think it would be really good if we could possibly meet another time next week after the selectmen and FinCom get together, just so we could bring all that information back. Because they will be discussing part of this.
We hope.
you're not sure, you gotta look at the agenda first to know what they're gonna be
I
discussing.
can't get on the site
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Thank you, David.
It's on the site.
Okay, joint, fiscal year, it says joint meeting with finance committee and, oh, that's school committee.
Finance and school committee.
Yep, okay.
That's the agenda right there.
There, fiscal year 2019, snow and ice update.
We already know what that
And
is.
the fiscal year 2020 budget and capital review requests. So,
And at 6:30 is an executive session, so the regular meeting doesn't start till 7.
right. So it's not really, there's not much going on about the senior center on that agenda.
I'm surprised someone on board told me that they were gonna do that, but maybe they changed it. But we'll find out.
I don't know, unless it's somehow coming up under the budget and capital, fiscal year 20, budget and capital, I don't know. Review requests, I don't know what that means and what the requests are, so I don't, but that's what it states and what's online, thank you.
Yeah, and it did say when I looked it up, it was saying it was a revised agenda. So it's
Oh.
already been changed once.
That's possible, maybe there was a previous agenda and they've changed it.
He said revised.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, yeah, but, you know what, there's a good take-home message here. It just shows you how you need to keep,
Revised agenda.
yep, revised. It was revised, 2/5,
Well, that's.
no, I don't know when it was. But the take-home message is, you gotta go online and keep checking these, meeting times and the agendas. And I know that when I see something, you know, I try to get the word out, but, and maybe we just need to make sure we email, at least, you know, if I see something, I can email Barbara or Nancy so that they can get the word out to you. If Liz gets wind of something coming up, because she's around here and might know more, obviously, finds out about things, then she can, you know, give us the heads up too, send a message out to the board, and we can communicate, make sure everybody gets it. Maybe that's a good plan, I don't
So
know how else
whenever
to
we
do it.
find out, we'll let you know,
Right.
and then you can let them know.
Right, and then, you know, we can take it from there. So,
When will this board meet again?
we're trying to determine that. So, we got off subject a little, but, Mary, what were you saying about, you wanted not to meet next week, you wanted to meet before Friday next week? I didn't understand.
No, I was saying after they had their meetings, if we attended the selectmen FinCom, then we could meet later in the week to see what they had said.
Well, it's hard to know, because you never know when,
I know.
Yeah.
It's just a suggestion.
well, it's a good one, because we want to communicate, but we also can communicate by email too. So if something comes up and you do attend and you need to get something out before a meeting is scheduled, then by all means, you know, send an email to myself or for the friends, maybe to I don't know.
I would
But-
suggest
time do you-
Friday the 8th at 1:30, which is the same time as this week and last week.
So,
Friday,
that is
Friday
skipping,
afternoon, the 8th, at 1:30 PM.
However, we have a sub-awareness meeting next Friday at 12:30.
I'm sorry?
We have
An
the Board
awareness
of,
meeting.
the Board of,
COA.
okay, thank you. I was like,
Whoa, just lost the whole thing.
the COA board,
the committee
Oh.
for
Sub-awareness, awareness subcommittee, there we go, awareness subcommittee is meeting next Friday at 12:30.
that's the
So-
regular meeting time of that board,
Right.
subcommittee of the board.
So
So-
another week, 2 weeks.
So I think maybe we should go 2 weeks.
I think we could do 2 weeks. I think we're moving and we're communicating well, and we are sharing information, and I trust that we can, if something comes up, we can, you know, motivate and activate ourselves and communicate, so.
It's hard to get this group, the whole group together for something like this. If the friends need to meet sooner, that's no problem, because then we can report to you whatever we have.
Right, well, and you're gonna, I mean, we have our board meeting coming up, you know, soon too, and we're gonna hold that meeting. We have our regular board meeting, and we have to have that. And you have your regular board meetings too,
Yeah,
so,
and we're also having
smaller ones, yeah.
casual meetings with us to
And that's fine, that's great.
point things.
So, and that's essentially what the awareness subcommittee is another, you know, spinoff from the COA board. So,
How much time do you need to get it posted?
You need to have, it's 48 hours, but in my mind, the earlier is better. And, you know, that's why, for me, I was saying last week, it was a lot to think that, you know, once we're done with this, I'm gonna be able, I can, and I did get this posted. But still, if it was gonna be weekly, it's a lot to keep.
The next
Track of-
Friday after next week is the 15th of February.
That sounds good to me. I don't know, anybody else? The 15th of February,
That's what I've got.
is that okay with everyone?
What time?
1:30. I will see if this room is available. And maybe we just need to take it from meeting to meeting, depending upon what's going on. On the 15th, if we know there's something big coming up Monday night with the selectmen, the following Monday, and we want to get back together to talk about it that next week, we can do that. Maybe that's the best way to approach it. You know, we're ready when we're needed.
Or you can just get.
Ready to mobilize.
Right.
An email on Google Groups for both boards, so if anybody wants to, it's just a posting board, if you want to have any ideas or what you've heard, it'll be shown to everybody in this whole table, you know?
Carol, I just got something from Google that said they were cutting out a whole
Oh,
pile
no.
of stuff.
Oh, wow. All right, I'll have to check into it. Or even just like on Gmail, we'll just get one
Yeah.
email for everybody.
Distribution list.
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
if you want to add to it, you can.
It just came up
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Sounds good. I don't know. How do you all feel? I'm not a computer person, so, or,
That doesn't go against any open meeting law if all board members are emailing about
oh, maybe.
a subject.
Yes, I think maybe that's a good point, Liz. We do have open meeting requirements for the COA board. And we cannot discuss business outside, and we cannot discuss business. I can convey information, but we cannot have discussions about things, or we're in violation of the open meeting law. So we have to remember that. Thank you, Liz. That could be a very gray area. We'd have to check with Diane, but I think it could be a problem.
We can check.
We can check, though.
I like the idea.
Or just to bounce ideas around and not specifically have meeting items, you know?
Yeah, if it's just ideas
Yeah,
and
yeah,
things of that
yeah,
nature,
yeah.
information,
And not
that's
just-
okay, I think. But, yeah.
We can clarify.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you could give us some information, just
Mhm.
you, give
Yep.
us information if you have it. We can
Instead of
certainly meet,
waiting
we
2
don't have
weeks.
to worry about
Right,
Yeah.
right,
the laws.
right, we do have to.
We're
We're
above the
laws.
Rogue.
Our next regular meeting is
We're outlaws.
That's scary.
11th is the COA board. So, and then that Friday, the 15th, is going to be I'll try to get this room. And,
And we'll have some information from the OPM, wouldn't we?
I
On
would
15th?
think, because they're meeting the 12th, if everything goes as planned. They're supposed to be meeting on the 12th, so maybe we'll have some feedback from that.
When,
Who was that?
I was just gonna say, when you say
The-
they are, who is they are?
They are as the subgroup of the town space.
Needs Analysis Committee.
Yeah, it's such a huge mouthful,
Yeah.
the title of that group. That's the subgroup who are going to be, let's see,
Doing the interviews.
doing the interviews. So all we'll know is that they've got them up and running, but we probably won't get a lot of information by the 15th. There's a subcommittee, a smaller group of the whole big group.
Space Needs Analysis.
I have to always stop and think because
Yeah.
it's hard to.
On the 12th.
On the 12th, that's just a smaller group, and they are doing the interviews. So. All right,
I move we adjourn.
okay. I have a motion on the floor to adjourn and a second. Is there any discussion about that? All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye.